What if the reason you've been stuck, spinning your wheels, unable to figure out what to do with your life isn't laziness, isn't lack of talent, and isn't bad luck? What if the real problem is that nobody ever taught you how to actually start? That's the exact question Tom Hurd sets out to answer in his book How to Start Discovering Your Life's Work. And honestly, after reading it, I think this might be one of the most practically useful books for anyone who feels lost, stuck, or just quietly terrified that they're wasting their potential. So let's break it down. The book opens with a deceptively simple observation. Most people don't fail because they lack passion or ambition. They fail to start because starting itself is genuinely hard. We're surrounded by advice that says follow your passion or just do it, but nobody explains the actual mechanics of how to find direction and take that first real step. Hurd calls this the false start trap. You get excited about something, you dive in, and then 3 weeks later the excitement fades and you abandon ship. Sound familiar? He argues that this cycle isn't a character flaw. It's what happens when we confuse short-term enthusiasm with genuine life's work. So how do you tell the difference? That's where the book gets really interesting. Hurd introduces what he calls the 3 signals framework. The first signal is resistance. Not the kind that makes you procrastinate, but the kind that shows up when something actually matters to you. He says that the things worth pursuing are often the things that scare us most, because they carry real meaning. If you're not a little afraid, you might not care enough. The second signal is curiosity without reward. Think about what you find yourself researching at midnight, for no reason, with no deadline, no grade, no paycheck attached to it. Hurd argues this unsupervised curiosity is one of the most honest signals your life gives you about where your energy wants to go. The third signal is effortful flow. This is different from the popular idea of flow where everything feels easy. Hurd believes the most meaningful work is hard, but it's a hardness you can sit with. You struggle, you push through, but you don't want to quit. That combination of effort and willingness is a powerful indicator you're on the right track. Now here's where the book takes a turn that I really appreciated. Most self-help books about purpose tell you to look inward, journal your feelings, meditate, visualize your dream life. Hurd pushes back on this pretty firmly. He says introspection alone is a dead end. You cannot think your way into your life's work. You have to act your way into it. He introduces a concept he calls small bets with high learning. Instead of trying to make one big, perfect decision about your future, you run small, low-cost experiments. You spend 30 days trying something. You pay attention to what energizes you and what drains you. You gather data from real experience rather than imagined scenarios. This takes the pressure off enormously. There's a whole chapter dedicated to what Hurd calls the competence trap, which I think is genuinely underappreciated. This is when you're good at something but don't love it, and so you keep doing it because it feels safe and people validate you for it. He's honest about how seductive this trap is. External validation is a powerful drug. But building your life around what you're merely good at, rather than what gives you meaning, is a slow way to feel empty. One of my favorite sections is when he talks about the role of identity in starting. We often delay starting because we don't yet see ourselves as the kind of person who does that thing. We're not a real writer, not a real entrepreneur, not a real artist. But Hurd flips this completely. He says identity follows action, not the other way around. You become the writer by writing. You become the builder by building. Stop waiting for the identity to appear before you start. He also spends time on something I think gets overlooked in conversations about purpose: the importance of community and context. The environment you're in shapes what feels possible. If everyone around you is playing it safe will feel like the only rational choice. Hurd encourages readers to deliberately seek out people who are doing interesting things, not because of networking, but because proximity to possibility changes what you believe about yourself. The final chapters bring everything together with a practical starting framework. It's not a 5-year plan. It's more like a 90-day commitment to one meaningful experiment. You pick something, you define what success looks like in a small and measurable way, and you show up every day without waiting for motivation to arrive first. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates clarity. Clarity, eventually, creates confidence. What I love most about this book is its honesty. Hurd doesn't promise you'll find your calling in 2 weeks. He doesn't guarantee that following his advice will make you rich or famous. What he does promise is that if you stop waiting for certainty before you move, and start treating your life like an experiment worth running, you will learn more about yourself in 6 months than in years of thinking about it. If you've ever felt paralyzed by the question of what to do with your life, this book is genuinely worth your time. It's not magic, but it might be exactly the push you didn't know you needed. If this video gave you something useful today, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow. Subscribe if you want more book breakdowns like this every week. And drop a comment below. I'd love to know what's the one thing that's been stopping you from starting something meaningful. Let's talk about it.